Welcome to the Tearing It Up podcast. I'm your host, Taryn. We'll be tearing it up, tearing it down, and tearing it apart, dissecting all things related to those who deviate from the standard. From leaders of their industry to leaders of mediocrity, and maybe a gear review or two thrown in. We shoot the shit and let the conversations flow, so if that's not your style, this may not be for you. Otherwise, listen in. Hope to light a fire in you somehow.
Yeah, start over.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, world. We are here today with our good friend, Hilary. So if you know her, you know her. If you don't, you've probably heard us talk about her. If you've been listening, she's come up just in conversation of like, oh, we did this or that with Hilary or blah, blah, blah stories. But anyway, Hilary and I met working at Crystal Mountain in Washington in 2010 or 11. I know I was in Alaska in 2012 but I guess I only spent one season at Crystal. So it must have been 2011.
I think so.
Yeah. So anyway, then, we just became like best of friends, hanging out all the time. But then I went to Alaska. She was in Colorado, just kind of years of both of us bouncing around. And then she ended up down in Tahoe, and I came down with a couple other, like a group of other people from Washington. And we all ended up staying for that winter, which then turned into a summer for a couple of us. And then for me, it turned into 8 years. So here I am. And Hilary has we were down here together for a couple of years, then she went back to Washington, then she came back down here, and she's back in Washington. So
get your notepads out.
Yes, and why she's here today, actually, this is the perfect segue, is because she is leaving Washington for another adventure that's
the country, bro. Deuces, America. Suck on my ovaries.
Kind of. I mean,
kind of.
It is the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yes.
But still, it's going to feel like a different country, and it's going to be way different. So it's just a little bit different because as you've been going back and forth from like Washington and Tahoe, like you've had a community in Tahoe, and it's not been anything like different. So it's been a long time since you've up and done like something completely new. So
yes.
Yeah, that's why we really wanted to talk to you today, and just because recently we talked about how like life just goes up and down, right? But you're kind of taught that it's linear, like this is what happens, you go to school, you get married, you have kids, and then like you're just set, and this is your life now. And it's not like, oh, I'm bouncing around here, there, I'm settled, and then I'm just like gonna change it up again. But I feel like with COVID, a lot of people got back into that of just like picking up and going and making these big changes instead of just settling and staying on this linear path. And we've never really lived that life of this linear path anyways. But I feel like as we've gotten older, we've been more pressured to get on that path. And
I was going to say that COVID has like made me COVID has made me feel like to be like forcing myself to be more linear.
Yes.
Rather than some people, have gone remote, and it's been easier for them to travel. And I don't know, it felt a little bit more different for me, I guess, being away from family in Tahoe and whatnot. It made me realize that I wanted to be home and spend time with family and do all that things that I haven't done in the past couple of years and whatnot. But usually
because I feel the same way in a lot of ways, and we've had this conversation before of like for example, the book or movie, whatever, Wild, like it came out a long time ago. I read it when it was like kind of first out, expecting to get some real inspiration and motivation from. Have either of you guys read or seen that?
I only through you.
Okay. Have you ever read the book Wild?
Is it like a woman?
Yes. Who does the PCT alone? So Yeah, I read it looking for some like kind of good inspiration, someone who I feel like I could relate to or something. And then reading the story, she inspired a lot of people. So awesome, good for her. But for me, like I did not connect because come to find out, this was like not someone I relate to at
Right.
all. She had no clue what she was doing, made a lot of dumb mistakes, which anyone would do, even if you're like a seasoned, I don't know, outdoors person. If you're doing a through hike, I'm sure you're going to make a lot of like rookie mistakes. But some of the shit, I was just like, wow, not what I expected. And I've always been on this search for someone who I can like really relate to in life, not just the story of I went to school, got a job, got married, did this, and then I quit after I had all these savings and I decided to go live outside. I'm like, okay, well, what about the people who made their life around like having those types of jobs and then not having any security at all? And so, yeah, I'm backwards. And I feel like COVID was a great thing for my business and moving out of the gym and starting my personal training and stuff. But it also sent me into a spiral of really feeling that I need security rather than a lot of folks. The big thing was like, I gotta get out of this bubble and buy a trailer and go live in a van. I was like, we've done it. Some of those things, not long term or anything. Part of like, I want the freedom to be able to do it, but I've also been really craving like, you know, a fucking job with a stable paycheck. And
benefits.
And benefits,
preferably.
Yeah. But then then it put you on a path, this path that was also then different of craving that kind of linear thing. And now you're back to realizing like that
ain't me
making you happy either. So
yeah, no. It's a, you know, kind of like I wanted that security and that seemed like the easiest way, you know, because, you know, that's what my family does. And I see my close friends doing things that, you know, regular 9-to-5s, you know what to expect. You have a consistent paycheck, benefits, all of that. It's so comfortable once you get into it, but not for me. Not for me. And so
day in and day out, like,
oh, I can't do it. You know, at least I haven't found the right job to do that for me. I'm super excited to get back to bartending and working with my hands, being on my feet and talking to people. And as much as I love that, you know, it has I'll peak and then I'll be like, okay, I know why I did what I did going into an office and whatnot. So I'm excited to find that balance and find a job that I can, you know, I'm 34. I'm going to be 35 in September and woo, baby. Halfway to 70.
Oh, yeah.
Great way to look at it.
Mine's in July, then Amber's in August, and you're in September. So I think that too, just because no matter how much we put in our mind of like, okay, whatever, age doesn't matter and like fuck the societal rules, you just still can't help thinking about it. And as we've talked about several times, I'm sure before too, of just being a woman and biological clock, whether you know that like kids are not in your future or you just don't know, it's still a fucking thing that it's still looming, and this like feeling that you just can't help think about the age just tacking on like higher and higher.
Oh, she just keeps climbing.
Yeah,
you know,
body changes. Like whether it's like the like maternal part or anything like that, it's still like going on a hike and you're like, God damn it, this hurts. Like, just a fucking and yes, you can do plenty of things to mitigate that and help your body, you know, age
who
better.
wants to.
But it's still a thing. Like no matter how healthy you are, your body is going to feel much different at 35 than it did at 25. It's just a fucking fact. Unless you're
between 30 and 35. It's totally different. And I'm really excited for this move because I'm used to working nights. That's what I've done forever. And I've had a hard time with my health and getting into a routine with working during the day from 9 to 5.
So
it doesn't work. Yeah.
So tell us like, let's start there. We'll start there. We've been going, but let's go
rewind
back and
give the people
tell
the
us
background.
what you've been doing.
Okay.
Like, just since you went back to work, like, you've been in Washington since the pretty much beginning of when COVID was like first hit in March or May or April or something, 2020, whenever you went back up there. You've been up there, but you took on, did you work at Crystal the first year?
I did. Yes. I moved back around May of 2020. I came back in April, but I officially moved back to Washington in May.
From where?
From Tahoe.
Okay.
From Tahoe. So, Tahoe, I moved home, and then I worked at Crystal a little bit, and then, through the summer. So I did the winter, and then through summer, bartending, snowboarding, right. And it was great. It was great for me to get back there and be near family during COVID, and because I was living by myself in Tahoe, and I was struggling with that. So it was so nice to come home to a safety net and have my family close, and because it was still uncertain times,
Very much so.
Yeah, in December or in winter of 2020. So bartending through the summer, and then I just kind of spun out, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, Crystal has always been toxic for me. So, I spoke my mind and then got put on probation. So, wasn't able to get hired back for the winter season. And then I was questioning things. I was kind of forced into like, all right, I guess this is the time. This is when you be an adult and you sit behind that desk and you figure it out,
Yeah.
So, in living in Greenwater, which is close to in between Enumclaw and Crystal Mountain, it's pretty secluded. So if you're not working at Crystal, where do you work, right? Enumclaw. And there was not much job opportunities there for me other than restaurant work. And at that point, I was like, I don't really want to do that. So I was lucky enough to take on a bookkeeping job from my friend Kelson and his construction company. And I actually really liked the job. I found out I've always been a numbers person. And so the work itself was awesome. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning everything about accounting and construction. It was a whole new world. So that was exciting for me. But what it boiled down to was that wasn't my routine, and I had to honor myself, and that wasn't who I am, or at least not yet, and I would love to explore accounting again and maybe a different format of a little more flexibility, being remote and whatnot, but that of course takes time and experience. So anyways, I was like, it's not for me. So what do I do? Shake it up, baby.
Yeah, shake it up.
Yeah, so well, I think that all of us are really similar in the aspect of we like to do many, 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 many things. Yes, there's plenty of people. Obviously, people have interest in multiple things, but I think between the three of us, we don't have just like a little bit of interest in some of these things. Like when we want something, we kind of like go full bore for it, and dive right in, and then whether that's a good or bad thing, I'm sure it's
just the same way I enter the swimming pool. I cannonball.
Yes,
exactly. I dip my toes in, I'm cannonballing,
dive in, and then you find out like, no, it wasn't really like for me. So it has its bad times where you're just like all in, full in, and kind of going for it. But then it's good in the fact that when you're doing that, when you're all in, like you're all in, but you can just as quickly be all out. So it makes it just difficult of the transit. There's not really a transition at all. It's just like, not doing that anymore. And it's been a thing I've struggled with and thought about for a long time of like, I want to be off that pattern of going all in, and then like, not, especially as I started my own business, but I'm still kind of in that pattern, and I don't think I ever will not be, as long as I can actually like pay my bills and whatnot. Then I think it's okay. But Yeah, it's hard
Yeah.
not to go all into one thing and then to just like instantly switch it up, because we know that when something's not right for us, like as I've gotten older, I've stayed in that for a little bit longer than like instantly just changing things. But I think we've all been really good and self-aware enough to know that when the rest of our life is kind of going into a bad place because of something that we can change,
Yeah.
and we change
Yeah.
it. But then we get a lot of flack for like wanting to change that. Like, Amber, you want to go back to school because you want to learn more, to be all in into that field that you want to go into, but you're not really getting the support that you need from the people you need it from to do that. So it makes it hard to make those decisions as you just develop different
And it
relationships
questions
and
your
stuff.
decision
Yeah.
making.
Yeah.
You're like,
It
oh,
really
I'm
does.
going to spend all this money to do this fucking thing. Do I do it or do I not? But you know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I think that's really what it boiled down to for this big move. Is I've always I haven't honored myself as much as I should. I've always like, I've grown up to be like not that confident of a person, and and it's like about time. Like, I'm gonna be 35. This is what I fucking want to do. I'm gonna do it, and I'm done living for everyone else's like hopes and dreams of who I'm supposed to be, because I'm fucking not that,
Yeah.
Yes, bitch.
Yes.
Also,
Yes.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
When you say you weren't quite living for yourself, who
Yeah.
was it in your life did you feel like you were trying to please and or live for?
My parents, 100%.
Okay.
Yep. Their idea of who I was who I was going to be. I'm so grateful that they had put me through college. I'm very grateful for that. But that came with holding it over my head and expectations that you will use it and you will do this. And right when I graduated college, I was like, skirt, I'm moving to the mountains, learn how to snowboard. Didn't even use it.
Back.
And never look back.
never
Also,
look back.
I feel like within our society, and I even had a conversation with Murray about this, it's we are sold this like dream, this American dream, this ideology, whether it's like find your person and get married, some Disneyland bullshit, or whether it's like go to college and then graduate with this degree and then go to work for this degree. I don't know how many of my friends went to college and got their degree but never ended up using it.
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say is I think that our generation really, okay, I can't say generation because generation is actually like just way too broad. It's very
too big.
Yeah, too big. But within our friends who are within 5 years of our age, I would say, they, and I could be wrong just because this is what I know. These are my people. And in those years, it could have started well before this, but it was a major thing of, everyone following that pattern of go straight to school. But this is where we started to see people not going through with using their degree. And I noticed this after I finished my associates, and I would have went to school, but I did not get into Western twice. So I didn't go. I did 1 quarter at UW-T, but I was paying for it myself. And so once I was paying for that and seeing friends like who had graduated and not like using it, I'm like, well, what's the rush? Like, what am I doing? I don't even know if that's what I want to do. And I know certainly that I'm paying for something that's going to be a general degree. So what is the point?
Right.
And I kept thinking about that as years went on, and I kept thinking about going back to school, but continuing to see my friends who had these degrees but weren't doing anything like directly related towards that. I just didn't feel that pressure to go back, but I still had the pressure in the job world of if I wanted to get out of customer service, food service, I still felt that I needed that piece of paper, even if it was like a bachelor's in general studies. I felt that a stable job of any kind of office job or anything, just seeing that they would hire me. And so it was just kind of like, well, what the hell do? I feel like there was many times that I felt like I still needed it to get a well enough paying job. But it was just so frustrating to see so many people who had it and weren't and didn't use it and were finding something to do.
Yeah, it's not that motivating to spend that much of money to.
So I'm like, okay, yeah, like there's plenty of people who don't, what they were doing, they didn't need that their specific degree for, but I still felt that just because they had a degree, it helped them. But that was just my own insecurities of not having a bachelor's, that I was like, is that why I can't, like, you know, I'm never going to get out of where I am. I'm never going to get a good paying job without working somewhere for like 10 years. And the years of my age are ticking on. I can't afford to work for a company for 10 years to get paid the same as if I were to walk in with a bachelor's. But
also the idea that service industry jobs aren't good jobs. I don't know how many years of my life I've been able to sustain my lifestyle, traveling, buying whatever cars in cash with a service industry job. It's a great job.
They're the shit.
They're the shit.
They're the shit. It's like, I struggled with that with my parents. So, you know, like, oh, we're so happy you got out of the industry. And, you know, I was living in this kind of sort of denial of like, maybe I don't like it. Maybe, you know, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's not for me. And like, no, I freaking love it. And I've traveled all over. I haven't really struggled that much, you know, with financially. That is one thing I'll thank my dad for. Save your money.
Okay.
Save your money, peeps.
One, I am so glad that you brought that up, Amber, because that is just so true of the feeling of it's not a good job. You're like just a server, just a bartender. And I'm totally guilty of saying that and of not wanting that. But that's also because I don't actually have a passion for that industry at all. And there's plenty of people that do, like you, Hilary, love it and thrive in that industry. And people who go on to own restaurants or manage these like big restaurants. I mean, that's a freaking career. So there's nothing bad about it. And even the lifetime server at Denny's, guess what? They're fucking happy and it's making their like that's what they want. It's not what I wanted. So I want to change my like language or around that of like, it's just not for me. Because
honestly, I don't even know where the bad stigma came from.
I don't either.
You know, where did this come from?
I don't know. I think maybe because they're entry-level jobs. You can get these kinds of jobs right out of school, but there's still tiers, right? You can do that at the neighborhood like bar, restaurant, cafe, but there are still restaurants in these places that you have to have years and years of experience for, go through like a sommelier, I always say
sommelier.
You know, you go through a crazy course for that. And so working at these top tier 5-star dining restaurants and above, you have to really be committed and know your shit. So
I think honestly, service is an art. You have to have finesse. You have to have a lot of skill, a great skill set.
You're a psychologist for some people. Like some of your guests. It's and you're right. It's like you have to have that certain personality. And another benefit of these jobs is like you don't take the bullshit home. It's not extremely hard on your body. You're not like working in a like an environmentally toxic work environment. You're not selling your soul. It's just
sometimes you are,
depending.
Depending on the whole, I think any workplace environment can be toxic. So you just have to find the right place for you. But that's another thing I think maybe of why it's not looked at as a quote unquote good job is because many of them are just hourly, and thus you have the benefits. And so in our society, what is considered a good job is most likely a salary, or at least full time, so that you know like what your paycheck will be every 2 weeks, and benefits. And
benefits and bonuses and all those things.
And so I think that's what is considered a good job, not necessarily the fact that, because my friends who worked in the industry the whole time in Tahoe, because I worked in like cafes. I didn't do like and when I was in the restaurant, I was bussing. I never was at like a higher level, whereas like seeing the good money, which is also what made me, I think, feel a little more jaded. But they all made like way better money than I did in whatever I tried to do. And it always made me want to go back, because I'm like, okay, if I can make $400 in a night, because my finances were never stable. But again, I didn't have any good finance lessons or things to look up to growing up. And my brother and I have talked about this. Like, we both are terrible
it's huge.
with our money, and we know exactly why. And like, as much as I try to get better, like I still have the same tendencies, and I'm like really trying and really not.
It should be a course in school. Finance really should be a course in school.
It should. And I talked to my mom about this the other day, actually, that, you know, like in school they need to be learning real life things. But so the fact that you had like your dad who like put those skills into you, plus just being in the position of making like great money, like that industry has done great things for you, and you love it, and you like I said, so when your parents though look at it as like, oh, we're so happy you're out of it, you're like, yeah, but I feel like dead to the world just going into a office every day.
It's soul sucking in a way. I mean, it's great in a way too. I did love going in there. You know what to expect. It's zero drama, you know, like you go in, you do your work. I loved my coworkers. It was awesome. But, you know, like I miss that thrill. Like, what's going to be that problem at the restaurant? What fires do you have to put out? You know, I'm an adrenaline junkie, and restaurant work kind of fits the mold for it. Like, I like high volume. I like to, you know, make hundreds of drinks a night, you know, talking to people while making drinks, while running your food, you know, multitasking. I love it.
Yeah.
And you leave like exhausted, and, you know, at the old restaurant I worked at, we would walk like 5 miles a night. And so you're getting like fit too, like you're moving, and just being sedentary at the desk, you know, I just compare everything. So I was just in my head at the desk job. I'm like, I could be moving at work. And then, so I'm not stressed out before my shift. Like, I need to work out before I go into the office. And then I never could do it because I love sleep. And it was tough.
Dude, it's so really fucking tough. Hard, man. Like, as I am doing the marketing aspect from home, who cares? Like, whether if I was doing it in the office or like, I'd still be sitting and staring at a computer, and it's only a couple days a week. And I just can't imagine really doing it full time, because it is so hard to manage that time of, and I mean, I've been a morning worker outer for a long time, and I have a hard time not like working out before I'm like, okay, I want to go on a bike ride today. I'm like, but I really want to go to CrossFit too. And I have to reel that in so I can actually like do the bike ride. But so even with that being said, I still like, I go work out, but then on the days that I'm sitting down, I like, I look at my step count. So I'm like, oh my God, I have like 2,000 steps.
So low.
And so it's like when I work actually on the floor, I work out in the morning, but then I'm also on my feet all day, and it just feels so much better to work and be on your feet. So being in the position from like jobs of being on your feet all the time to complete opposite of just sitting in front of a desk for days on end. And it's just so hard mentally when you're the person who needs to.
It is. Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, Hilary, you leave tomorrow.
I leave tomorrow. I'm moving to St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands tomorrow.
How the hell did this even come up? How was it just because she calls me one day and I was in the PetSmart. We're like doing Reno errands. And I almost didn't answer just because we were doing that. And I was like, I'm trying to get better at just answering the phone and at least just saying, hey, what's up? Like, I'm doing something, you know, I'll call you back or whatever, instead of like the non-verbal communication of like, let it ring and then I'll text her. And she's like, well, I have something to tell you. So just like, you know, let me know like when you talk or whatever. Like, well, tell me now. And of course, being at this age, I'm like, oh my God, she's pregnant. It's just
it's what everyone thought.
like I said, it's again an age thing.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh God. But
Nope.
but I was also like just a little too excited for it to be
Yeah.
that, because I think it would be more of like a oh fuck.
So yeah, it would be a little bit different of an entry there.
Yeah.
Well, at least we can have abortions in this state.
Yeah,
I know.
we will talk about that next time for sure.
So Hilary, what feelings are you having? Are you ready? Are you packed? What's up?
Mostly packed. Yeah, no, I have a couple things to check off the list. We don't leave until tomorrow. We have a red eye, so got plenty of time tomorrow.
Oh God.
Good.
Like I leave at 3, so do you want to meet at 2:30?
Yeah. Wait, what time is your flight tomorrow?
9:30 p.m.
Okay.
And then then we red eye to New York, and then sleep there for like 2 hours, and then we boogie down to St. Thomas, and then
Wow.
this time on Wednesday I'll freaking be in the Virgin Islands, man.
So you're just cruising like Craigslist for jobs and St. Thomas comes up, or what?
Okay, so I've always heard about them, had this like, I don't know, do you guys ever have these like places that you remember and you kind of feel, or like places, things, people you kind of feel like this weird connection to, but
yeah,
you don't know when it's gonna fall into your life, but you kind of, they stick out, So about 3 weeks ago, my friends from Greenwater got home from a vacation in St. Thomas, and they were just talking about how much they loved it. It was perfect. It was paradise. It was not too hot, not too humid, because that's very important for me. I'm highly irritable in the heat. And I'm an avid snorkeler, and they said snorkeling's awesome, so I'm in, baby. And I just, like I said earlier, bored in life. I'm bored as shit. I've been trying to honor, someone else that's not me. And so, actually, what's funny, like side note, I was trying to figure out, like, why am I feeling like this? So I looked at my birthday personality, and in there, like under the health section, it was like, people who were born in September 3rd should not work behind a desk, as it has negative impact on their mental and physical health. I was like, yes! I knew it. So, and then, okay, so Bailey and Lucas come home, and I'm like, this is great. I love what they're saying. So I hop on Indeed around 11 p.m. and find that this restaurant is hiring. I look up the restaurant. It's freaking gorgeous. It has a beautiful view. Are
you looking specifically in St. Thomas?
Yes. Yep. Specifically in St. Thomas. I'm like, all right, how can I do this? Well, yeah. So I hop on, and then the Easterly is the name of the restaurant, and it sits right on the water in the marina. Beautiful view. They have, fishermen go out in the morning and they, catch the fish, bring it in. The chef cooks it up however he wants. And
that's my
all the cocktails are made from fruit picked right on the property. And it's just me, like, yes. I'm like, hell yeah. So
fresh, baby, fresh.
Yeah.
Yes. Fresh.
Frosh, baby.
Yeah.
So I went on, I didn't even try either. I just sent in a resume and wrote like the shittiest cover letter, because part of me likes to play this game. Like, if it's meant to be, and I don't even like try, and it works out, tight.
Yeah.
Great sign. Next morning, wake up, love to interview you. And I was like, no freaking way. Okay, awesome. So Friday rolls around. The next day, they call me and have an interview. And the guy who's interviewing me, he's like, I like to keep these to like 5 minutes, short and sweet interviews. We end up talking for like an hour. Hit it off. Just, and I'm like, it's just sparking me, like my inner fire's coming out, and I'm like, this is my passion. My passion is to be behind a bar, talk about food, talk about quality ingredients, having that good quality life, like, you know, I've always sought out to do. So he's like, you know, end of the conversation, he's like, yeah, you got a job. Awesome. Call Tyler, he's on his way up to see me, and I'm like, so I got a job. He's like, where? I'm like, oh, St. Thomas. He starts laughing and he's like, oh, so we're moving to St. Thomas? I'm like, yeah. He's
and
like,
the fact that he's on board is pretty, like, this is meant to be, boo.
yeah. And shout out to Tyler for just being so spontaneous and supportive and like down.
Yeah.
Homie's down. Homie's
down.
Yeah.
So
the girl needs somebody
awesome.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes. And
That's
so then,
awesome.
So that lines up. Okay. So job's down, boyfriend's down. And next morning we wake up, hop on Craigslist, and we see the 6 studio, and it has a view of the water and totally furnished. In the listing, it said, all you need is a toothpaste or toothbrush. And I'm like, perfect. Call him up. She's like, oh yeah, totally. You know, we'll send, you know, hit it off, FaceTimed them, went great. And then they sent over the lease, and an hour later we signed a lease and we have a house for 6 months in St. Thomas.
Crap.
So like within, I don't know, 24 hours it worked out. And I'm like, I couldn't get a job in Tacoma to save my life. We couldn't find a rental in Tacoma that was like affordable. But St. Thomas,
right. The feeling has to be there. Like you said, in all these like, Zoom meetings, like the feeling was right. Things just lined up, and like things just weren't lining up for you.
Not at all. It was like we were forcing the shit to happen because our parents, you know, want to see us commit to something and see us grow, because we have great potential, but we just committed to each other in like the biggest way, and we are committed to this move, and this is our form of commitment. And so hell yeah, that's the story 3 weeks ago, thanks to Bailey and Lucas for going to St. Thomas.
That's awesome. And like you said, I mean, commitment, it just looks so different to everybody else, and like, that's a commitment to uproot your life and move to another
commitment
place that's like, it's technically this country, but it's the territory of it, so it's very much different than just moving back to California or up to a different city. You got a job, you signed a lease, and like I said, no matter how much your parents may want you to always be around, like real close to you, and how much like you want that too personally, like, you just don't know how life's gonna unfold. And this could be, you could live there forever, you could create a life there, you just don't know. And if you do that, like what if you got an accounting job down there, you're like, okay, then great, we'll come see ya, you know, like you just don't know. This could be for 6 months, it could be for 6 years. Like people, like look at people who are in the military, they move all the time, because they're in the military and they have to, but it's like, so why can't that be a normal thing? Like, why can't you just move around? Kids, like, you know, you can move and meet new friends. How many kids grew up like moving around all the time, and it actually benefited them in their social habits in their life? Some it's hard for, but some it's hard for kids to stay in the same school in the same town the whole time, and they have to switch schools within the same city because school is just hard.
And I think that's, you know, Tyler, he grew up with his parents, and they're huge travelers and just so willing to take risk. And so having where my parents don't take risk at all, so he's a great yin to my yang, and he went to middle school in Lagos, Nigeria.
Wow.
And then from there he's just traveled, and so he's so comfortable with everything, and that helps me a lot. And so I look forward to it. But back on the staying in Tacoma for like family and stuff, I'm like, I could stay here and I could see my mom regularly, but I'm going to be grumpy. I'm going to be pissed. And what's the point of that? I'd rather go live my life. And, you know, I've always kind of battled with a little bit, I don't know, I I probably depression, never been diagnosed, but I think, city life, the constant commotion and I don't know, it's just not the beauty of nature. I mean, granted, Tacoma is really beautiful, but getting out and shaking everything up is like what I need to get out of my head. I'm a very heady person. And so in order to just really have that quality time, I think quality time, and even if it's a shorter amount of time, as you can relate, Taryn, with your family, is better than, for me, and maybe for you, than just constantly being around them.
Yeah, I have to remind my family of that, because when I come to visit now, I used to do a lot more trips that were shorter, like 4 days. I'd make the drive from Tahoe and go up there and come back down. And as I got older, I'm like, I have to take more time. I can't just be doing that quick of a turnaround and spending a week or two. And now I've been flying up and spending like 2 to 3 weeks up there. And so when I'm up there, I mean, I've just immersed myself in the family. I see like a couple of friends and do a couple of things, but I'll be at my brother's like every day and a lot of time with my parents and stuff. And I just have to remind my mom of like, if I lived down the street, like you wouldn't see me every day. Like you wouldn't. No. Like, and I kind of started to feel a little bit bad as my niece and nephew are getting older and stuff. And I've spent so much time with them, and my niece is remembering me and saying things. And I'm like, I think about like, oh, if I lived there, I could go to soccer every week and I could have one night a week, like Tuesdays, that I'm there every night with TK, like while Jen's working and helping. And I'm like, but actually, like, that's a nice thought to have, but I can't say that would actually be reality, because I would still have a life. And maybe like, say just for
things come up
of theoretically, like if Andrew and I lived there, like, we'd still be doing our thing, right? So I might not make soccer every Sunday. Something might come up that, I'm not there every Tuesday. So for a while I probably would be, and I would definitely see them more often, but it's a different experience, and it's hard to remember when you're in the moment of like, this is what life would be like all the time if you were here.
You're on vacation.
It wouldn't be. And most importantly, I have to remind myself that, so I don't make myself feel so bad, like for being the one who's gone, and like it's my fault that I am missing it all or something. It's like, no, if I was there, this is not necessarily how life would look. And what would I do? Like, he's like, what would make me happy all of the time?
Plus, Hilary, when you were saying earlier about the relationship between you and your mom, when you put tension and strain on a relationship, it just makes it more like catastrophic and chaotic. And I've like kind of learned this with my nephew, like the more that I try to be his mom, the more that I try to be involved in his life, the more strain is on our relationship. And so I've just like fully backed off and been like, when you're ready, you'll come around and we'll be here together. And like with mother, I mean, mother, daughter, mother, son, mother relationships, like the moms are giving and giving and giving for so many years for their lives to this person. And like when children start to grow up and like that separation happens, the mother still feels like she needs to have control or needs to give to something. And I just find it interesting. And I think that it's very important for mothers to just like, while they're mothering, have something forever for themselves. Like that's why I try for myself to always have my own things, because I know that like once Quincy's old and out of the house, I'm gonna be like, what do I do now? So you just 100%. Always have to have a part of you.
Yeah.
And don't try to strain a relationship, because it's just going to make it worse. Give it time and space. And even when you're fighting with your partner, like give it time and space. Don't strain yourselves.
And that's what
space is awesome.
Yes.
For any relationship, especially the mother, because like my mom did not really have her own identity outside of being a mom.
She also got pregnant so young.
Yeah. And so even when you come to being, or your kids come to being like teenagers and they're just gone out of the house and wanting to hang out with friends more, I think that becomes a hard transition, but let alone when they're gone and living their life. And, I think my mom still thinks and hopes that like I will come back someday. And I never say never to anything, especially with just the way Tahoe is changing. But anyway, I'm just like, I don't want to burst her bubble of reality. I'm not gonna be like, Mom, I'm never ever coming home.
Yeah.
And as things happen, it will happen, because I think she's like, okay, like if I got pregnant and had a kid, she'd definitely want me like home and near her. She wouldn't be able to bear the thought of like her grandchildren growing up like away from her. But I'm not gonna tell her like, hey Mom, like the real chance is most likely if that happens, like it is gonna happen down here. Like it's just if things happen, they'll happen. And I'm not gonna let her
Do you have a wrench?
these thoughts. Huh?
Do you have a crescent wrench in your hand right now?
Yeah.
For what?
It was sitting on my desk. It's for my pedals. I keep it close to adjust pedals on my bikes up here.
Okay.
And it was sitting on my desk, and I always got to like fucking fiddle.
Yes.
Spinning it around. But
Karen, the tool woman O'Donnell.
So any relationship, I think it's important to keep your identity, friends, partners, anything, because I think we've all also been in the experiences of any kind of relationship, especially like you said, Hilary, like you're always like living or something for somebody else. So you're just, and also kind of maternal instinct of like just worrying about other people and not yourself. And you always just have to, keep your own identity and do what's right for you. And it gets really, really hard to do when you are in any kind of tight relationship, whether it's family, friends, again, or partner, that you start to kind of think about that other person a little more than like what's right for you. And so I'm just so happy and proud of you for making this choice and move. Like I said, especially as we get older, we just have that pressure of like, can I do this right now? Like it's something you weren't unfamiliar with, but it's been a long time. It's been like 8 years since you've done it to a brand new place, because Tahoe was the last place that you like up and moved and like, let's do it. Then you were just back and forth between the two, but you haven't gone anywhere new. So turning 35 and moving somewhere completely fucking different, not even ever being there, it's just has a little different like fear on it than it did when you were in your 20s.
And and just to put a little cherry on top of the fear thing is when we land, there's a hurricane forming, so we might just get hit right when we land.
Tight, baby.
Tyler stoked. He wants to surf the storm. So.
Okay, so to quote our old Splitboard spoof video, our urban split clip, what's life if you're not taking risks?
Straight up. That is a great video. You should post it to your podcast thing just so listeners can watch it.
Show notes.
No, to that note though, I saw some this has definitely been a pretty crazy thing for me. Like moving hasn't been too hard, in years past, but now it's like I created this life path for me, and my brain is like, I'm gonna have this 9 to 5. I got a great boyfriend. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do all of the things. And then I was like, no, like it doesn't feel right. And then I saw this quote about attachment. And I'm like, I'm attaching myself to these ideas. And I think the quote was, attachment is the root of all suffering. It's a Buddha quote. And I was like, that is what I'm doing. Like I gotta let go and just not let the fear take hold and not take these ideas take hold and go live my life.
Baby.
And it's been great. So, I mean, in my head, I'm not that scared anymore. I'm so ready. We're ready, and I'm excited, and it's so badass to feel this way.
Awesome. Especially after for so long, because I've been with you through the pandemic, and I remember visiting you multiple times and us just being like, what the fuck is going on? And also back to the attachment topic, there's multiple ways that we can become attached to someone, whether it's physical, emotional, or mental. And I feel like frequently we do attach ourselves to people emotionally, even though we do not
very
know
much.
it. Like I had a
Yes.
girlfriend say to me one time, she was like, yeah, I'm really attached to my partner. And I was like, you guys never spend time together. You guys never do this. I was like, what are you talking about? And she's like, emotionally.
Yeah.
I'm like, severely emotionally attached to my partner. And it happens when we don't know it, and in all relationships.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
it does.
Even just like Hilary said, ideas or things or places, right? Like maybe it's not a person, but like you are attached to like you could be attached to being in Tacoma and close to home, but knowing like it's not right for you, you don't feel comfortable, but you just cannot let this attachment of being close or the idea of creating a life there. Like you said, you just have to let go of attachments. I think more so for me than like attached to ideas of how things like should be or how I want them to be.
Fantasies.
Yeah, and then they're just like not like I don't even know anymore how I want things. I had a thought this morning though, and it was just like of all things, like little thing, like I would just love if Andrew's not a coffee drinker, and coffee and the ritual of it can be so important to me. Like, God, if only he would just like could make me a cup of coffee one morning. He doesn't have to drink it, but if like, but again,
Tyler doesn't drink coffee either, and I'm the same way, girl. He tried coffee the first time with me, and he's like, bah!
Wow, you know what? That honestly makes me feel so good, because it's like misery is company kind of thing, where as much as I know we love our coffee rituals, and we've gone so many places where we're like, let's make a pot of coffee right here just because like we're on a rock on the seaside, and it just
exactly what I was thinking.
Ritual. And to know that you also, your partner does not drink coffee. Oh my God, good. Then I'm not just living this nightmare alone.
Nope. We're both living in these nightmares of having our coffee alone.
Better than alcohol.
Yeah, so God.
Hill Dog, another question.
Yes.
Are you all moved out of your apartment? And if so, where's all your stuff? And who has your snowboard and stuff?
Oh, okay, so yes, I moved out, and it feels so fucking good.
Woo!
Oh man, and I would never think I would say that, because I loved my house in Greenwater. It was absolutely beautiful, but to like give that up and like be done with it, I know that this is the right thing, so that's cool too. It's all of my stuff is in Tyler's mother-in-law at their beach cabin. Super grateful for them to let me store my stuff here, and snowboard stuff is here. So
how did it feel putting that stuff away? Because I know you just bought a bunch of new gear this past year.
I did. Oddly good. I can't even explain to you how good I feel. Like, and for those of you who don't know, I live and breathe snowboarding, snow, all of it. I just freaking love it. And it's crazy to just like be like, oh, might spend the winter in a total opposite environment. And
but that's a good sign that it feels good, because like even just I know you also love summer and the sun, so I know there's times that you're like ready to have that, but that can be a little more fleeting than the desire for the snow and snowboarding. So to feel like 100% good about being out of the place in Greenwater and like okay with like putting the stuff away and like really welcoming a full new season is a good sign, instead of like, okay, I want like a week of sun and now I miss snowboarding. Like you're like, I
want to live it. I just want to live it. And I think along with like the two, I guess there's three words that really brought to light, that I need to move and want to move, and what I've always lived by is like attachment. Like I got to give up my attachments. I'm too comfortable right now. I want to give that up, and being complacent and all of those things I was feeling, and I want to get rid of it all. I want to be free. And I think it's really important for all of us to just get out of our comfort zones and really just see what we're capable of, because
1000%.
We as humans are capable of so much, and
if we let our brains
get there,
allow.
It's tough. I've been real comfortable in this house, and I'm like got utter like chaos, just garbage bags of shit everywhere, trying to in totes.
How's it feeling for you to be packing up there?
Awful. No, just because we got a lot of shit. And figuring out where it's all gonna go and like what is gonna go into our small space versus storage. And it's just a little bit scary because we don't have things ready like water and septic. So some things you need to live. Which we
is there any natural springs around there?
No, we have to drill a well, but we'll do a tank. We just have to get the water tank and figure out a septic. But yeah, it's just this week that's gonna be a little bit tougher. But because it's
a lot of hard work.
Packing everything.
It's a lot of hard work.
Random shit, but it's also a purge, so that feels kind of good. Like, don't need this, fuck it. Like, let's start fresh with a lot of things. Like
it is the best feeling.
Comes, so that feels good, and just doing something. Yeah, we're
in the midst of it. It doesn't feel so great because you're going through the shit, but afterwards you'll be like, oh my god. Especially after living in a house where roommates have been like in and out. I don't know if any house is like that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We'll be
one of them.
We'll be starting. It'll be in that aspect a nice fresh start of like we're up at the property. We're in this thing that's been only ours, and it's gonna be only like the fifth wheel is gonna be only ours, and see what happens. But it's just real scary not knowing if we will get anything else up there besides the fifth wheel before winter, and just a lot to do. And Andrew and I are both kind of putting off that feeling and the getting going, but this is definitely forcing us to like look at your comfort zone. We've made the commitment. Now we have to fucking keep diving in because I have gotta keep my toes. Yeah, gotta get that cannonball in.
And as scary as the homesteading venture may feel and is at a lot of times, just know that you'll be okay because you have family there. It'll be okay, but it's gonna be hard.
Yes, it's gonna be a learning curve for sure, especially just being out of town. Again, we're not fucking that far out of town by any means, but we're right in the middle basically right now. Everything's 5 minutes away, so just adding on, life will be a little bit different of even just little things of going to dinner and going out to have a couple beers is like we have to think a little bit more, plan a little more.
It's more intentional.
So not just like on the seat of our pants, let's go do this. And like, oops, we stayed out too late. Like we're only 5 minutes from home. Let's call for a ride or bike or something like that. We're like, oh crap, it's like almost an hour round trip. Like if we needed a ride somewhere. So it's harder for someone to do. Do you see a whale?
I see an otter.
Oh, I knew it.
I've never seen one on shore.
Cute. They're so cute.
It's so cool.
Yay.
I love seeing animals.
What is the tide? What is the tide right now? Is it out?
It's low. He's just rolling around on the shell, scratching his back. I've never seen this. How cute.
What is the time difference in St. Thomas?
3 hours. We're East Coasters.
Okay.
Not bad.
So wait, do they use U.S. currency?
Yep, no passport needed.
Oh my god!
Can't wait to go.
Easy peasy. Yep,
I'm so excited to be there Wednesday, so you can start telling me when I can come.
Yeah, come now. It's so cool. It's like super easy, but bring your passport.
Maybe we'll go.
Just hop on a ferry. Just hop on a ferry. You can go to the British Virgin Islands.
Yeah, I want to go.
They're right there.
That's where a girlfriend of mine just was. So I just assumed they were pretty similar as far as like, scenery and whatnot. Because she said she had the best time, highly recommended going. And what do your parents think and feel like now that you're like they've had 3 weeks for it to kind of settle in? I know they probably weren't like, well, your dad probably wasn't super stoked at first on the
My dad didn't talk to me.
For how long?
When I told him, oh yeah, days. But part of it too is he's also a heady guy, and he just turned 70, and that hit him pretty hard.
Aww.
So I think it's less disappointment now than just being like, oh shit, she's not going to be around. And
right,
I think
she needs to get her shit together. It's like, I want you close.
Yeah, and he is just the king of silent treatment. So I was like, you know what? Space, Amber. Gave him that space. We gonna be all right.
He'll come around. He'll come around.
Still gave him hugs when I'm like, I'm here, Dad. You don't have to talk to me. I'm here. I love you. But my mom, she was amped. Tyler's parents are stoked. They're like, you guys need this. This is who you are.
That's good.
I think they could feel our energy. I mean, of course, like when we were talking about Tacoma, we're like, we can do it. Yeah, we can do it. But then when we told them, we're like, we're moving to the Virgin Islands.
Yeah.
It's a way different energy. And everyone likes to see their people happy. So
well, that's good.
Another question.
Yeah.
What are prices like down there? And is everything like pretty close? Like, are you gonna have to get a car, or what is accessibility gonna look like?
So yeah, everything's really close. The longest drive you can take is like 40 minutes from one side of the island to the other. So
damn.
It's like not long. It's not big. Tyler and I both like to drive really fast, so we won't get to do that there. That's going to be one sacrifice, but I think we'll be all right. So we're going to look for a car, and they all call them island beaters. They're like, if they don't have bumpers, they don't have headlights, they don't have
they're like
they're
15 years old.
Yeah, they're old, and I couldn't be more excited to get in one. Like, I don't ever buy a car to take care of it. Like let's rally this bitch. That's why it's fun.
Yeah, I've been craving like a old Volkswagen for that. I'm just like, okay, I'm kind of tired of vehicles that I have to take care of, even though I've never been that good at it either, but just with gas and everything, I'm like, I miss driving like a stick shift too, so I just want
so bad. So we're gonna get one of those. Also, people get around by like scooters and whatnot, and locals call them scoots. But the roads, they're super, super steep, and our buddies were saying when you're driving in a car, you can't even see like over. You don't know what's
coming. Like the steepest hills downtown.
They're gnarly. I was watching this YouTube, and this guy said that they change out their brake pads every 3 to 4 months because they're so steep. And funny thing about the island is you drive a left-handed drive car on the left side of the road. So a normal car on the left side of the road. So that'll be a learning curve with that. But they're basically like, there's no rules on the island. It's just you just go. Like, you're supposed to, no one's out there patrolling how you drive.
That's so awesome.
And does your boyfriend have a job too?
No.
I think you should just write a book.
Sugar mama.
Yes. Yeah. He's gonna chill. He's been working his ass off here, and I'm excited for him to just recalibrate and find, himself again. Just relax and unplug and, talk to people and just live his life.
Out in the world. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Good.
That's awesome. And the way that you guys are like, well, I mean, you've done stints of not working and figuring out like what the next step is, but I think it's awesome that for this move, like his recalibration is going to be like not working, taking some time, and your recalibration is like fucking diving right into the restaurant industry and talking to people, but going to work and having like structure, but not the like normal routine structure. So it's just like you guys have the opposite needs, but you're able to like meet them in the same way or same place. So it just sounds like it's going to be great for both
I'm
you guys.
so hyped for you guys.
Awesome. that both your
Proud
parents
of you
for the
too.
most part support it, because I know you're
Thanks.
both like pretty close to your parents, and it's just so much harder when you have a close relationship with your parents to do these things without the support, just like we mentioned at the beginning of like Amber in school, and when you want to make choices or make big moves and the people who are closest to you that matter the most like aren't on board, it just makes it that much harder to make that decision for yourself, even though it's just what you really want. So it's just nice to have that support.
And it's been great to have friends who support us, and
hey baby,
you know, that
really matter.
It's not just because I want to go so bad.
Oh my gosh, everyone's welcome.
Like, yeah, I can't fucking wait to go and paddle. I'll bring my paddle board and and
hey guys,
check it out. Yeah.
So you leave for the Virgin Islands tomorrow. The day after that, I'm going to Sayulita.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
All your tips. Give me all your tricks. What do you guys have to say about Sayulita?
It was so much fun.
Just dance your ass off. You're so much fun.
Yes.
It's just fun.
Staying?
What?
Where in Sayulita are you staying?
I am staying near the Yaya Cafe, which is on the south end of the city.
Okay.
Probably like an 8-minute walk up from the beach.
Okay.
Away from the beach.
Well, that's good. You're away from downtown because it is loud as shit.
I made sure of that. I made sure of that.
Yeah. I one thing that I really enjoyed is waking up early. So everyone parties all night long, which is super fun. But the town is so quiet at like when the sun rises. So I recommend just going out to the beach in the morning and enjoying the beach and getting a little solitude and relaxation. Because come at like 10 a.m. or something, it's so freaking crowded. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah. So you should definitely surf though.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Because it's so cheap. It's like $25 for an all day board rental. Lessons that I know I didn't look into because we just didn't have that much time where we looked into that, but yeah, you just have to, because it's just a great that the Sayulita beach proper is they've got small waves.
Beginner waves
are a good place to learn.
Perfect.
Taryn is ripping too. But go out, do it early before, because Taryn did it like midday or something. And she was battling people.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks out there.
But it's a great wave.
Yeah, I heard. And my girlfriend who I'm going down there for her wedding, she's a major surfer. She's been surfing for like the past 6 months down there.
Rad.
So yeah, we'll be kicking it on the surf. And then we're also going to be there in the rainy season. I think you guys went on their like high tourist season.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. It's February. I don't know what their seasons are, but I bet it was more.
Yeah, that's their high tourist season. Yeah. Their summer is our winter.
Okay.
Or their non-rainy season is
right.
So we're going.
Go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Even with a lot of people, it's still so fun.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I know is just down there. So I've been watching her Instagram and it still seemed like amazing. So hopefully we just get some.
How could you go wrong when you've taken time to go on vacation?
Exactly. Because it's been rainy, and when I've been in Hawaii or Nicaragua in like rainy times, it's like just refreshing rain. I mean, when you're used to rain, it's just so different. You're like, wow, I'm not freezing, and I can still be doing fucking everything in the rain. You could still be at the beach in the rain. You can be surfing.
It feels good too.
So it'll be awesome. I'm so excited for you, Amber, to do that trip as well and be taking the whole family. Like, that's awesome to have Quincy and Murray and just do something like that. You guys have never.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah. And Murray and I had a really good time this past Saturday. We really got to connect with each other, and so it feels good to be leaving on a trip with the family when he and I are in a good place.
Yeah, that's
badass.
Yeah.
Do you guys have your own place, or are you sharing? With other people?
Got our own place. We got our own condo. It's this woman's condo that she and whoever built back in 2008. It's called Casa Jackie, and she has just sent us a ton of information, and she just seems like an all amazing host. So I'm
Cool.
excited that we chose and it was extremely affordable. It was like $65 a night.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
And we're there for a week, so we got the week
Hell
deal.
yeah.
So holler, Casa Jackie. I mean, we'll see how it goes when I come back. But also, and we're meeting, like, some of our friends are going to be down there. My girlfriend's entire family is going to be down there, and her cousins or her nieces and nephew are like 15, 16, and they love Quincy. So we'll be able to get like time away from the babe.
Oh, rad.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Not that he's awesome.
Yeah. He's a roll dog, and he actually travels better than Murray does. So we'll see how it all goes. But I'm like slightly nervous about like the water, because I've heard so many people get sick. But I'm bringing down charcoal pills. Katie was like,
just don't drink the water.
Yeah. Don't drink it. Yeah. But just like being conscientious about like opening your mouth in the shower.
And especially with a kid, like brushing your teeth and everything, like,
use bottled water for brushing your teeth. I last June, went to Mexico, and I drank all the water, drank all the ice drinks, all the smoothies, everything, just went for it, like normal life.
Yeah.
Don't recommend it.
Okay.
I do not recommend it. When we went with the girls, with Taryn and Becca, did it completely different. Very, like, thankfully that Taryn and Becca are on it, because I'm pretty loose. I'm just like, hey, whatever. It's not gonna mess me up. The one time I slipped up, it was not tight. Yeah. So I highly recommend sticking to bottled water. Yeah, I had a emergency. So.
Oh, you told me that story. You know?
Yeah.
Good time.
That's not one for the podcast, but
as Becca and I were like finishing up a massage, and Hilary's, hey, I just can go take a nap. Like, is everything okay? You seem a little like wound up.
I had a situation. You see?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, just bottle water all the way.
I can't wait for you to come back too. And so then we can plan another like all girls Solulita that's like, or somewhere else too. Like the place, I always forget the name that Becca went to.
Troncones.
Yes. Or somewhere like that. That's like a dedicated surf week.
Yeah. We were looking and going, and they have like $25 a night places in Troncones.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Super affordable. But and the tight thing about St. Thomas is, like, even though it's an island in the middle of the Caribbean, it's a great hub for flying. So like actually flying to Mexico is the same price as like flying from Seattle.
Nice. So we'll go to the Virgin Islands, and then from there, like hop over to Mexico.
Yeah, Belize is right there.
Hopefully plane ticket prices go down in a couple months or something. We'll see what happens.
They're looking like it.
I'll be looking, and hopefully getting out that direction like September, October, as things slow down around here or something.
That would be sweet.
Then maybe
I'll
plan my trip to like go there and then fly to Washington from there.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say, Hill Dog, before we close up?
Just honor yourself and love your friends and have fun.
Yes,
that's it. It's been great talking to you guys, and I encourage anyone who's listening who's scared to do something, just fucking do it. Just do it.
Yeah,
let go, have fun. Life's short.
Don't live your life for other people.
Yeah, do not do it. It's
100%. Even if you have kids, there's a huge thing. Like, it's still not like, you got to make responsible decisions. That if you're not making mama happy, then they're not going to be happy. So
I saw this thing on the internet that said something about how don't make your kids feel responsible for your emotions, because if you do, then they'll grow up to be people pleasers. And I think that is what has happened to a lot of our society, is like make the kids feel, especially at such a young age, feel responsible for their emotions. So therefore you're more likely to grow up as an adult to be catering to your parents, your partner, your kids, instead of being like, in a perfect world, what do I want?
Yeah, exactly. And then once you honor yourself and have confidence in that, everything else falls into line.
Yeah.
Because when you're a people pleaser, like what I've noticed, because very much so, like you spin out. You spin out and you don't have that your own stability within yourself.
Because you're looking to other people for the right answers, but the right answer is inside of you all along.
That's it. Amen, baby.
Amen, baby.
All right, we'll wrap it up here. And next time we talk to Hilary, she'll be in the Virgin Islands. And maybe
we should do this in a week.
Yeah, totally. Just weekly updates with Hilary.
Yeah.
We get back on Wednesday. I mean, I'm down to do it in Sayulita, but we get back on Wednesday.
Yeah, we should. Just a little vacay wrap up and an update. That'd be fucking awesome.
Totally.
Yeah, let's.
Okay.
All right. Love you guys.
Talk soon. And yeah, great to have you. And we'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode and would do us a huge favor, since we don't have any sponsors or anything like that, and would rate and review us on whatever platform it is you use, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, whatever it is. And if you're listening and downloading just through the website, tearingituppodcast.com, leave comments. We'll definitely engage back with you. And on social media right now, we're just on Instagram. Tearing It Up Podcast is the handle. Like the post, share the post, comment on the post, whatever it is you got. Show us your love so we just stay relevant and show up in the rankings at all. So again, rate and review, please. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.